What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Stack. I'm Alex.
I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And on The Stack, we have so many books to talk to you about. Never too many.
No. This is perfect. This is perfect. I've read so many comics, I'm only comics now. I'm inside the comics looking out.
There's too many to keep track of. It's all bleeding together.
There's so many great comics that came out this week. It felt bad.
I'm The Stack, and I'm reviewing Justin, is what's happening.
And hey, it is Pledge Week here at Comic Book Club, so I'll mention if you want ad-free
We're not a fraternity.
If you want ad-free versions of this podcast and all the podcasts we do, patreon.com/comicbookclub, and also stick that thing up your butt, right, Pete? Is that what you wanted to say?
Yeah, we're not a fraternity, but I will be paddling your naked ass, Pete. I can guarantee that. You're getting your butt beat today.
You got me with how graphic you were, dude. That was really...
That's not graphic. That's real. That's reality.
Clutching your pearls right now.
Oh my God,
Pete!
Really
take my breath.
Got me between the cheeks there. I don't like it.
All right.
Not between the cheeks. Hopefully not between the cheeks.
My cheeks are red. Not. You got me between the cheeks.
That's not how that works.
Those not the cheeks I'm aiming at, my guy.
Well, you got bad aim, I guess.
All right. You know who doesn't have bad aim and who never misses is DC Comics with Absolute Martian Manhunter #1, written by Deniz, art by Javier Rodríguez. This is yet another expansion of the Absolute Universe line. Here, per the title, focusing on Martian Manhunter, completely reinvented with one of the most stunningly artistic books we've seen in a very long time. This is also one that you definitely want to pick up in physical form if you can, because it plays with the physical form in the book in a really fun way. But even if you didn't read it digitally like we did, this book still rules.
Yeah. This is, unbelievable cover. It really sets the tone for the unbelievable art that's on the inside. This is worth it for the art alone. This is just so cool. I'm wondering if Absolute Vodka is selling more vodka because this Absolute DC is just killing it.
That has been your conspiracy theory for so many times, and I will say I've always loved Absolute Martian Manhunter when I see it behind the bar. Great with a light tonic and a shark tooth dropped into the bottom.
Whoa.
This comic, it's got to think outside the box. This is very fun. This comic... we talked about the Absolute Flash last week, which I think was maybe a little too over the plate for us while being in the Absolute Universe. This book is wildly interesting, great artistically. Feels like I'm curious how this will touch into the Absolute Universe. This isn't really a criticism, but this book could be anywhere, I think, not necessarily the Absolute Universe. So, I wouldn't expect it to give you a lot of feel for what they're doing there, but so good. The story's great. Deniz Camp. I'm deep into Deniz Camp, and I'm here to play.
Just to riff off of what you were saying in terms of the overall line, it really sounds like we're knocking Absolute Flash, which I think was a good book. But one of the things that I think we talked about is that the previous three books all had a very specific take on parts of society, and Absolute Flash felt like a superhero book, which wasn't quite as strong there. This is not necessarily about society, but it is Deniz Camp and Javier Rodríguez diving deep into identity and the idea of identity and what makes up a person and what makes up a person's thoughts, which is something that doesn't really get explored in Martian Manhunter because he's usually green Superman with telepathic powers. So this is going to be a really fantastic and fascinating ride to go on. And Javier Rodríguez is pushing himself. Like, I love the stuff that he did on the Zatanna book recently. But this goes even farther in terms of breaking through and out of panels and ultimately breaking the comic book form itself. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, this is something you got to get in a comic book store because there is kind of like cool stuff, and reading it digitally, I felt like we missed out a little bit. But the fact that we're inside Martian Manhunter's head is cool. I know that's JT Sizzle's favorite thing to do. So we get to spend a lot of time in this tripped out kind of world that he sees. So yeah, this is just so cool and interesting and definitely worth checking out.
As the Deniz Camp counselor on the podcast, I say everybody into the store, which is the pool.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Next up, X-Manhunt Omega #1 from Marvel, written by Murewa, Ayodele, and Gail Simone, art by Gleb, Melnikov, Federica, Mancin, and Enid and Balám. We've been pretty mixed, I would say, about the X-Manhunt crossover in terms of pretty mid, that's fair. But this is the final issue. This is from a bunch of creators that we really like a lot.
Yes.
How did you feel about this finale?
And a cool cover, too.
A cool cover. I gotta say, like, we talking about how sort of this crossover feels strangely not like a crossover. The intention feels all over the place. Professor X is simultaneously running from a prison, running from different X teams, dealing with a tumor in his head, trying to save his daughter, and
don't forget his space daughter, dude.
Resurrecting his space love, the mother of his space daughter. So there's been too much going on, yet weirdly the crossover didn't touch a lot of that. So the first half of this book, I was like, what is this? It doesn't deal with Professor X at all. It's just like sort of a bit of a wander through the different X teams that we've touched on. And I was like, I thought for sure the Omega issue was going to come back home and be about Professor X. So I was like sort of out on it. But then landed this great moment where Professor X literally leaves. I'm spoiling a bit of the book. He leaves at the end to go into space. He's like, you know what, guys? You don't get me. I'm going to space. He gets a tumor removed, and he's like, I fucked that up. Can we go back? Can we go back to Earth? And he then has this, actually, one of the best Professor X moments and scenes in like a decade, maybe, in Marvel Comics.
Wow, really?
Where he talks to all of his mutants and says goodbye forever. No chance that he's leaving Earth forever. And then the stunner that I was shocked by, but now this crossover makes a little bit more sense, is the reveal we get at the end that Professor X will be seen in Jonathan Hickman's Imperial comic. So this was not really a Professor X like swan song. This is a setup for Professor X in that book. So that makes more sense for what they were doing.
Well, I thought this was awesome. I'm really happy to see him go. I hope we never see him again. And, I think maybe the burden now, Scott won't be such a douchebag because his angry father isn't over his shoulder all the time fucking with him. So I'm hoping maybe we're going to get a better Scott Summers and a less douchey one is my hope. But we will see. Time will tell. I thought what he said was really nice, but like pretty intrusive move to just kind of be like, oh, by the way, all X-Men, I'm out. Thanks, but no thanks, and deuces.
You know what, Pete? You've heard of one-issue voters, right? I feel like you're a one-issue comic book reader, and your issue is Professor X. And getting rid of him, like, they could have done literally nothing else in the entire comic book. If they were like, Professor X is gone forever, you would have been like, best comic book in a million
It's
years.
interesting to me, because you used to just hate Scott Summers, and I feel like that's sort of metastasized into I hate Professor X. When,
he did a lot of douchey moves.
Professor X.
He then became a lollipop guy, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, he used to be cool. I used to like him, and then he started making a lot of weird moves that I couldn't back up and support.
He did start representing the Lollipop Guild, which was surprising.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you,
Wicked
Justin,
timing.
because I thought the first half of this book was really good. It was
Really?
everything that I wanted out of the X-Manhunt crossover. Like, it was all of these different X teams interacting, chasing after Professor X, a literal chase. I thought the tension of Roger doing brain surgery on him while he's trying to escape from Earth and people are trying to shoot him down.
That was
like,
cool.
So stressful, dude. That was stressful, bro.
Yeah, the part I'm talking about that I was like, why is Ilyana conjuring a limbo like kaiju
that was
that
cool,
she's fighting
man.
Yeah, but I was like, what is this? Like, give me this.
Here's what I think is like this first half of the issue or so, that's what I would have liked to see stretched over 8 issues, because
yes, exactly.
They had a bunch of like a wander for a while, literally, and now this is like we all got to get Professor X. He's going from this place to this place, and everybody is just amping up the stakes in terms of how they're trying to take each other down. I thought that led to a lot of really cool moments. I also felt like the conversation that happened at the beginning here between Cyclops and Rogue, where they were like, here's why we're going to have this raid on Greymalkin, that felt like a scene that should have happened months ago at this point, so it would have explained everything that was going on. I don't know why they held it to here. So I appreciated that. I thought the action was pretty killer throughout here. And conversely, I didn't really like the end because we had this killer ending, again, spoiling the issue, but we get to a point where Wolverine ripped to shreds because Cyclops is having a panic attack on the beach.
Attack, dude.
Dark Phoenix style stabs Cyclops. And I was like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? And what happened next is they were back on the beach and Professor Xavier is like, I know I just left, but I'm coming back. And everybody's like, we cool? They're like, yeah, we're cool.
And Cyclops was like not even wearing a Band-Aid over it.
I know. It was crazy. It felt like this happened months down the road. So there was a disconnect there where it felt like two issues were going on in this issue that didn't seem to necessarily be talking to each other. And I didn't mind the Professor X goodbye, but there was a dissonance. There was a disconnect going on.
Yeah, it was weird. What do we think about the idea that Professor X sort of bad? Brain tumor removed, Professor X good again. Bad tumor, very bad tumor.
And also that tied into the whole avians thing that maybe they're dealing with at some point. Not 100% clear. I don't know. It just felt like there was a lot of things going on here, like we've been saying. But also I'll give a shout out, even if you weren't a fan of the scene, I thought the kaiju art, the battle on the kaiju art was pretty great. So...
Yeah, it was just much. It was such a random thing to have happen while everything else was going on. You know what I mean? But it did look cool.
Yes. All right. Why don't we move on to another comic book? Universal Monsters, The Mummy, #1 from Skybound and Image Comics, written and drawn by Faith Erin Hicks. Now, I'll give a little plug. We actually, Justin and I talked to Faith Erin Hicks about this issue.
Cover.
This is going to be in the Comic Book Club feed later today. But this is more of a YA take on the classic Mummy movie. Pete, is Mummy your daddy?
Well, I don't like the way you worded that, but I did think that this cover, I was like, man, we've seen so many different kind of the Mummy, takes, but this cover was so cool that I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should shut the fuck up and give this a chance. And I did, and I was very pleasantly surprised.
This cover says, shut the fuck up. #1.
And I was just impressed with all the other stuff that was going on and really liked the story. And the Mummy was just kind of in the background. And I thought that was such a cool, interesting take. I'm all in here. I'm having a blast with this. I really love the art.
They say don't judge a book by the cover, but in Russia, a cover judge you, right, Pete?
Yeah, that's what they say in Russia.
Controversial. Wow.
I don't know
Pete,
why we're talking
not
about
taking
Russia.
the Yakov Smirnoff cue. I guess it's because it's a rival to his precious Absolute is the Smirnoff. And he hates that.
Yakov Smirnoff invented Smirnoff Ice, by the way, right?
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
Our life is only vodka. That's all we have room for.
In Russia, drink choose you, and that's how icing came about.
I saw Yakov Smirnoff at the State Fair once when I was like 8 years old, and I thought it was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Well, that's, I mean, 8-year-old, that's 8-year-old comedy right there.
Yeah, he was talking about balls. He did the thing like washing, I don't remember what.
Oh, you have it memorized. Come on, give us a little taste.
No, I really don't
Alex,
remember.
As a young man who would eventually go into comedy, did you feel like the State Fair is your ultimate goal, or what's your plan here?
It was a stepping stone.
Yeah, as it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was Yakov on his way up or down? Was he on his way up or down?
Great question. Great question, and I don't feel prepared to answer it at this time.
Nice.
Batman.
And Yakov is living in your basement, you said, right, Alex? Now he's
he's right over there. Hold on. What a country! There you go.
Oh, wow.
Still got it. He still got it.
Still got it.
Still got it.
Yeah. It is a joy to bring my laundry past him every day.
I will say that's going to get you into trouble, or maybe it's a good thing now, given the current geopolitical situation. This comic about the mummy is great. Alex mentioned that we did talk to Faith Erin Hicks about this comic. A lot of great insights there, but I really love the blending of the look and feel and some of the ideas of the modern Mummy movies with a lot of the stuff from the original Mummy movies. So that's really cool. Great art, interesting stuff really set up, a lot of great interiority here. We had a great conversation about the nature of drawing a horror comic in a more cartoony style, and really great display of that you can see here.
Next up, Batman 158 from DC Comics, written by Jeph Loeb, art by Jim Lee, better known as Hattush. Hattush has begun. Hush 2 is here, the first chapter to one of the best-selling trade collections of all time. Pete, you seem pretty hyped about this first issue, where we get to see Batman, the Joker. We get to see a new character called Silence, I believe. And, of course, we get to see everybody's favorite bandaged character who is not the Mummy, Hush.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this. First off, the team on this is really good. And, I love me some Jim Lee Batman art. You know, give me some pouches. Give me some badass fucking boots. Some shit kickers. Yeah, this is just... very exciting that Hattush is happening again. And, man, what a jam-packed issue. So much goes down in this first issue. How could you not be excited? It's got great art, great action. There's tons of villains and cameos in this. It's a who's who of Gotham in this bad boy. Come on!
As long as the Who is Joker and Batman, and that is we do get those characters, that's for sure. I did like the Talia al Ghul stuff in this. I thought that little bit of relationship stuff I thought was cool. I like the idea that maybe that's a relationship. We've seen a lot of Bat-Cat in the last few years. Maybe it feels like there's maybe some chemistry there in this book. I was surprised we didn't get a little bit more Jim Lee showing off pages. It felt like a pretty over-the-plate regular comic.
There was some great Jim Lee panels in here, though, bro. Come on.
I expected some splash.
Undercut the Jim Lee of it. Yeah, there was
let me just say pages. It wasn't big enough splash. Like, we didn't get sort of... This was like...
It's just a start. It's just, you gotta hold on to the
speak in Alex's comedic vernacular, this is like Gallagher 3 smashing a grapefruit, when I wanted Gallagher 1 smashing a watermelon. That's a splash. That's a splash zone I want to be in.
I totally agree with you. It's great to see Jim Lee art. No problems there whatsoever. I did think it was very... interesting, and I wonder what the intention was to really over-explain every character relationship. And I have a couple of theories there, but bringing up Talia al Ghul, Batman's narration being like, Talia al Ghul, she's the mother of my son, Damian Wayne. So a very complicated relationship there. And I wonder if the intention was like, hey, people read Hush and literally nothing in between. Now maybe they're going to read Hush too. And I don't know whether that's true. I kind of imagine probably not, but maybe. I don't know.
Well, I think the goal being this will be on the stand, on the shelf next to Hush, and be like, I'll get both of these. So you want to be able to just jump from one to the other, even if whoever is reading what in between.
Yeah, and I think that is laudable and that makes sense. But to your point about like the sort of careful start here, this felt like exactly what it is, a Batman comic from back in the day. And I kind of feel like we moved past that storytelling wise, you know, like being back at the level of like, I'm Batman, where he's so tight about everything. I don't know if that's Batman anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of fun to have a throwback, and it kind of like, I feel like I have a soft spot for the over-explaining the comics used to do back in the day, where it's like, I'm Batman.
Over-explaining.
I'm Batman, and that's Talia al Ghul, and we have a complicated relationship, and man, that's still an open wound that I haven't dealt with. So I don't know. Like, I don't mind it in the beginning of a story to get people up to speed just in case they fell into a coma or whatever, or not a Batman reader, or whatever the case. I'm not going to be mad if we're slowing down in the beginning to get more people on board. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, I wish I was in a coma from Hush to Hush.
What a medical term, I believe, right? I saw that in the last episode of Hit. They're like, this patient's been in a coma, hush to hush.
Hush to hush.
Well, I think it comes from the Bible. I think it's ashes to ashes, hush to hush, is what they say.
Oh, wow.
When you die. That's in my eulogy. That's how I want to be remembered.
Jim Lee's my god, man, so of course.
Here's the thing. It's also interesting. Hush, the original, was a mystery. There was, sort of like another.
We're working our way up to that.
Another Jeph Loeb book we're going to talk about. Well, this book is not a mystery. Literally, the last panel is like, "Oh, Hush is back." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm surprised you know that right now, Batman. But he's a pretty good detective. They say
he is the best.
So I don't know.
Well,
It left me being a little curious what even the story is, because it was just like, hey, Joker got messed up. It's like, okay, yep,
that happens a lot.
That happens a lot. So I don't know what the mission statement here is. I'm sure we're going to get that.
I was for sure that by the end of the issue we were going to get like a breaking the internet, the Joker dies. That doesn't happen, but they definitely like lead right up to that. They're like, no, but he's like, he's a little alive. He's mostly alive. So I don't know. There's a part of me that wish they had gone to that, so that would have felt that oh shit moment that I don't think we quite get here in this issue. But again, good Jim Lee art. Why don't we move on and talk about Ultimate Spider-Man?
Sorry, one last thing on Hush.
Yes.
And does Thomas Elliott still have the same face as Bruce Wayne?
Great question. Yes, technically.
Right?
I don't know if they're going to.
Are we picking up on that?
He's a master surgeon. He could have changed it between Hattushes.
He gave himself a new face? His whole thing was like becoming Bruce Wayne. That was like sort of the point of Hush, and then later they physicalized that in the continuity, and he took on his own. He made his face Bruce Wayne. Do you think?
And I will again frame this in Jeph Loeb has always been very nice to us, and this is not slacking him off at all. Do you think Jeph Loeb read any other Hush stories between Hush and Hattush?
Someone told if he didn't read them, sure. And I bet he did. Someone would have said like, "Hey, he's got a face. You know about his face?" And he's like,
his face.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, whatever.
He's like, well, that's not my Hattush. You know what I mean?
Not my Hattush.
Yeah,
there.
Everyone has their own Hattush.
I'm surprised you guys aren't just more excited that this is back and we're getting another Hattush. I'm a little surprised.
We're just getting one Hattush. This is the first.
This is just the first Hattush.
Man, we're gonna get so much more Hattush. I cannot wait for all of it.
Yeah, let me get a round of Hattush for the table.
Yeah, come on, man. Let's get a lava fountain of Hattush for the table. You know what I mean?
We got a lot more comics to talk about, though, so let's keep it going.
Before we move on, I have to smack Pete's Hattush with this paddle right now because he's pledging.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 15 from Marvel, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by David Messina. Last issue, Harry Osborn was killed by Kraven the Hunter. Now Spider-Man and his family are on the run. They're in the desert, living with a bunch of UFO nuts. When they meet, per the cover, you see this happening, Sandman. But the other thing that's going on here, and probably the more important thing, is that Peter Parker's son is in the Not a Venom suit, so it's them teaming up together for the first time, which is pretty neat.
Pretty adorbs.
I've been talking. I think this book is great. I love the Sandman sequence. That we had a huge revelation last issue, so this is definitely like a reset place for this title. We talked a lot about how the countdown of the Ultimate Universe is giving everything such momentum and stakes, but this issue there's like not a lot happening. I was like, guys, there's only so much time left. We have to keep going here. There's more stuff. I was like, we're getting a whole series of a couple sequences about just like the logistics of the newspaper business. I was like, guys.
That was great. You don't like the stuff?
It was cool. I did like it, but I was like, is this the main part of the story?
I think so. I think Ben and J. Jonah Jameson are the main focus of the story. The big bad guy. JJ, is Wilson Fisk. He's the big bad guy of the series, probably. So, yes.
I mean, when you think about Ultimate Spider-Man, what you ultimately want is to know how a newspaper runs and how it works, the ins and outs and the deadlines. And I did think it was kind of weird how they had the meeting with Kingpin. I very much enjoyed the beginning of this. It was nice to see Peter with his son, also Peter and MJ together. Thank you very much. And I just think that it was kind of weird where they had a meeting. Kingpin was like, listen, you guys can keep doing what you're doing, but I'm killing a ton of people who have the same name as you, but keep doing what you're doing. They're like, okay, we'll keep doing it. I was like, I think you guys missed the point of the meeting where Kingpin was saying, like, if you keep this up, he's going to keep killing people, but you guys seem cool with it because you don't want to change how you work.
No, I love the
did
move
like that.
there in that scene where he's like, I've killed all the Ben Rileys because they're using Ben Riley as their pseudonym to publish pieces. And they're like, well, you already did it. So all the Ben Rileys are dead. You have nothing to threaten us with anymore because you already did this thing. And then they figure out how to go back and forth in there. What's so great about these scenes is they are a chess match between these characters. They're all cerebral, and you have very smart characters working at the top of their game. You know, not to take it into a side talk, but there's a lot of discussion online about, Ultimate Spider-Man is successful because Peter Parker and Mary Jane are married, so you should have them married in the mainline books. And that is not the reason these are successful. It's successful because the characters are great, the situations are great, the tension is great, the art is fantastic. It's just a really
things are happening.
Yeah, it's a well done comic book.
And also Peter and MJ are together.
That's a good point. That's a side point, or the opposite of Alex's point. Great to see Thick Wilson with a couple of thin Wilsons right next to him doing business. You know.
Well, they are Free for All #1 from Oni Press, written and drawn by Patrick Horvath. Geez. This is actually a book that Patrick Horvath did a couple of years ago and is getting published by a mainstream publisher for the first time. It is a oversized book about a future utopian society where billionaires have to fight to the death if they decide to keep their fortune. Otherwise, they could donate half their fortune to help the world. Great to read that. Great book. Really enjoyed this. Good stuff.
Love Patrick Horvath. Did we read this and then talk to him about it? Because I think we read this a while ago.
Yeah. Maybe we did talk about it on the stack.
I think we've double stacked this. This is a double stacked book. We got the.
Alex is losing it.
Our thoughts have changed.
Alex is losing it, man. He didn't realize we double stacked.
Yeah, and you realized that, right, Pete?
I definitely did. Because I was like, wait a second, that gladiator face that comes down. I was like, I've seen that before.
Mm-hmm. But let me say, I was on a second.
I'm sorry. I want you guys to keep reading it until you understand it.
Oh, thank you. That's
we're in remedial comic book review.
I gotta go back and read it again. I totally forgot it.
No, I'll put it
summer
in the
school again this year.
I do think the fights were...
Alex, I liked this.
No, need more of that. I need more.
I definitely love the fight sequences. You know, sometimes in books you just get like gory fights, but the fact that like we're rooting for different people, it really brought a nice level to the gladiator type of fights here, you know, and definitely made you want to scream, "Are you not entertained?" So, I mean, that's always a fun time.
Let me say, in this, the last time we read this was a while ago, and in relation to the modern world where feels like maybe billionaires seem more powerful than last time we read this, it made me like it even more.
Oh, definitely pick this up. Next up, Peacemaker Presents the Vigilante Eagly double feature #1 from DC Comics. Story consultant James Gunn, written by Rex Ogle and Tim Seeley. Art by Matteo Loli and Mitch Gerads. We did actually talk to Tim Seeley about this back at New York Comic Con, so you can search for that in the feed. This is not part of the continuity of the Peacemaker show. It is inspired by the Peacemaker show, but takes place after season 1 and before season 2. But again, I want to stress, is not in the continuity there, okay? But you are getting these two stories, one of Peacemaker and Eagly going on a trip, and the other one, Vigilante going absolutely insane back at home. What do you guys think about this?
These are really fun. I feel like the Vigilante one is great. That's our guys, Tim Seeley and Mitch Gerard's on it. Really fun stuff. My big takeaway from this is not even about the comic per se. It's more that John Cena looks more like a comic book drawing of Peacemaker than the drawings in this comic book, and he's real. And that's my takeaway from reading this comic. It's crazy that John Cena is real, and these Peacemakers are on a page.
Yeah, I missed the show, so I'm glad that this is out now because it can hold me over until we get the show a little bit. But man, this is just messed up fun. I love the art. The action is dumb and over the top and perfectly aligned with the humor of the show. So yeah, I think this is great. And I'm hoping we'll get the show sooner rather than later.
And let me say the backup
this summer. But go ahead.
There you go. The second story is sort of built as an Eagly story, but it's actually a Peacemaker story. So if you actually, like Pete's saying, if you need some Peacemaker in your life, this comic actually features Peacemaker pretty heavily, especially in the second story.
Next up, Godzilla vs. Fantastic Four, #1 from Marvel, written by Ryan North, art by John Romita Jr. This is the first of, I want to say, 6 one-shots that are all, story-wise, probably unconnected, but pitting Godzilla in different decades against different members of the Marvel Universe. The other thing that's maybe important to know that I had forgotten about going into here is not only is this one set in the 1960s, but there was previously a Godzilla comic book that is in continuity with Marvel, and this takes place in that continuity. So this is all stuff where Godzilla is just there. Like, for some reason, I expected it to be a what-if type thing, like what if Godzilla fought the Fantastic Four, but nope, it's 100%. This is in the Marvel Universe. This is happening, which is pretty bonkers.
Yeah,
they're remarkably chill about encountering Godzilla.
Yeah, I mean, the superheroes, they seen crazy shit all the time, so why freak out about Godzilla? But I love, I'm a big fan of Godzilla, and so I'm always rooting for Godzilla, and if they go up against the Fantastic Four, guess what? I'm not rooting for the Fantastic Four, so I thought this was fun. Then Fantastic Four finally smartened up, and we're like, what are we doing? We're fighting the good guy here. So it's nice to see them kind of team up and, kind of take on the bads at the end. So I had a blast with this. Art was great, and this was, you can tell by the title, you know what you're getting into, and that delivers well on it.
Yeah, I think they did a really nice job. Oh, I was just going to say they did a really nice job of channeling the 60s tone. There's some fun stuff throughout here, matching them together with, I think it's King Ghidorah ends up as with the power cosmic, and then so does Godzilla, leading to a very fun splash page from John Romita Jr., so good times.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed. Great connection to the 60s. I think this, the 60s Fantastic Four, this channels them. They're all business. There's not a lot of emotional, interpersonal conversations. They're like, we got to get this going. And they're very functional, like it used to be back in the day. I just had a question for the table here. From a species point of view, do you think Fin Fang Foom and Godzilla could date? They hook up?
Whoa, you just blew my mind with that. I would hope they would be friends,
Friend, and maybe like a spark of...
Yeah, maybe something will happen from there, you know what I mean? I don't want to force it. Just because they're two giant green beings doesn't mean, they immediately got to start,
Do you think there should be like a Bumble for monsters? Because I do.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's a $1 million idea right there, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, saw you wrecking New Delhi. Any chance single? Monster Island? Question mark?
Well, there's going to be plenty more of these, but You'll Do Bad Things, #1 from Image Comics, written by Tyler Boss, art by Adriano Turtolucci. This is about ostensibly it's about a writer who has writer's block. He is writing about murders, and then those murders seemingly start to come true.
Oh, no, what a nightmare scenario.
So you're saying it like it's not?
What?
Pete?
No, yeah, you're saying it like it's happened to you, Pete, or is currently happening.
Pete in a Tales from the Crypt episode is like, this is awesome. I have a haunted typewriter and it does it kills whoever I want. Period.
Man, that would be
Pete's like, I get this because every time I do the stack, I go out and kill someone right afterwards.
I don't know how we got just off the rails of me just kind of agreeing with what you were saying. But I wanted to ask Justin, is it true? Is this guy your boss? Is he the boss of all Tylers? Like, are you?
He is the Tyler boss.
So you have to answer to him.
Yeah, once a month we check in, and I'm like, here's what I've accomplished as a Tyler, and here's where I've fallen short. And he's like, do better, is what he says a lot.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's encouraging, at least.
I'm on there with, like, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
right.
Obviously. All the Tylers.
Live. Yeah.
Lives there, lives. Yeah, Liv and Steven, they're like, we're related,
other
but we
ones,
don't really...
other Tylers.
Your brothers.
There's other Tylers.
Right?
My brother's there, yep.
Yeah.
The descendants of John Tyler, the 11th president, obviously.
Right.
Tippecanoe and Tyler, too. You guys know about that.
Oh, yeah. Come out. Do we want to talk about
really
this
like
book?
this book.
Okay.
Yes, I really like this book. I feel like this is... A lot of comic books are about writing and about the process, or feature authors.
Right.
And this does a great job of... Like, I really like the take of the writer here. It felt like it channeled the frustrations of writing and the tendency to just be like, well, then they start stabbing someone as a way to just solve your story problem. And that was really cool. That was, and the art's fantastic, nice and bloody, really well-paced horror. Tyler Boss has a great sense of art as he's writing in this.
I really agree with you on that, and I just like to echo a little bit that, like, it's an interesting idea that, like, okay, something's true that I wrote. We've seen that before. But I also love the setup of this idea of, like, I try to write something nice and then bad things happen. Where it's like this thing where the author has no control over it. He starts the story and then it just kind of has a mind of its own. So I think that's an interesting kind of nuance here that I think is explored or will get explored. And I think it's a great setup for this. But yeah, I can't say enough about the art. This is such a kind of creepy, interesting world. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more. This is very cool.
If you're a fan of Criminal or That Texas Blood, I think this is very much in the vein of those things. You will enjoy this as well. Next up, Wonder Woman number 19 from DC Comics, written by Tom King, art by Daniel Sampere. This, we're going to get into some big spoilers here. I know we are giving too many spoiler warnings, but this was definitely billed as the end of the Sovereign story. It finally all comes down to this as Wonder Woman invades the White House to take down the Sovereign, the guy who has been the king of America, and she's been dismantling over the past couple of issues. But it's not quite over yet, and in fact, they're teasing even bigger things to come. I love how that played out through this issue. I love how we got Wonder Woman to get a victory, but there's even bigger things and more horrible things down the road. So very excited to see where this title is going next.
Yeah,
just fantastic Daniel Sampere art. Like, wow, so good. And then the story is really great. It sort of gives you a lot to think about in relation to politics, perhaps, Wonder Woman as a character, what she means, what it means, the people around her. I love the fact that this is the narrator of this is the villain. Really well done. The last page was a swerve for me, so I'm curious to see where that's going.
Yeah, I thought this was really awesome. Crazy cool story. Really wanted to stress how awesome the art was, but also just like the choices, like the panel, and again, sorry for spoiling this, but the panel of Wonder Woman just like throwing that desk was just so powerful and just so amazing. Good. And you're kind of just hanging on, like, how is she really gonna do this? Like, it's just so, the tension was so well done, and the art was just such a huge part of that. Super impressed with this book. This was awesome.
There's a
you tried to lift your desk.
Yeah, I tried to throw my desk and I couldn't do it as well as she does, man.
After she does that, she gets the Sovereign to strip down, take off all of his clothes, and is like, carve a word in your chest with this knife. If you were told to do that, what word would you carve into your chest?
Probably my Instagram handle, I guess.
Oh, yeah, like Brandon.
Get yourself out there. You can get yourself out there. You got to put yourself out there. Take every opportunity.
Probably like if you're reading this, you're too close, something like that,
Nice. Oh, like a bumper sticker?
Yeah.
Right. Like my other chest is a Mitsubishi. That's...
Yo, first off, I love that Mitsubishi seemed to surprise you, Alex.
Yeah,
the person saying
the way you said Mitsubishi, like you didn't know what it was hysterical.
We didn't know. It's like, oh, what's this food in my mouth? Mitsubishi. Yeah.
Mitsubishi.
And the idea that someone on like a big ass Ford truck is like, my other car's a Mitsubishi is very funny to me. Very funny stuff. Well, we all had great answers on that one. Really great stuff.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, we'll definitely be talking more about this one in the future. Let's go over to the Doom Room, the One World Under Doom Room, where we talk about One World Under Doom. Lots of issues came out this week. So many of them. I'll just list them real quick, but we can talk about them individually. There's Fantastic Four, Doom's Division, Doom Academy, Thunderbolts, Doom Strike, and Red Hulk all had new issues this week. Let's start off with Fantastic Four number 30, written by Ryan North, art by Corey Smith. Is picking up right off of the end of One World Under Doom number 2, where Ben Grimm has been cured of being the Thing, and he now needs to deal with that. Pete, you seem bummed out.
Yo, this is a sad fucking issue, dude. This is depressing as fuck. And it's like, yo, Ben Grimm is like, dude, imagine if I was a human and how much that would fucking suck. And I was like, yo, Ben Grimm, like, some of us have to live like this. Human. So, like, yeah, like, ouch, bro. Like, ouch. Like, I get it. Like, but damn, dude, you don't have to, like, there's got to be some benefits, right, bro? You wanted this for most of your life. So, yeah, dude, this is rough. This is, there's really sitting in this choice.
You wanted rocks off, bro. You got to live with those consequences. And instead of that, he goes to the puppet master. He's like, hey, can you take your magic and make me happy?
I
was like, this is a wild, this is a wild take, especially in the midst of this, pretty big Doom moment. This was a very strange issue. I enjoyed it. I liked how weird it was. And Ben Grimm is maybe the lowest. He's maybe at his lowest point I've ever read in a Fantastic Four comic or otherwise. So
because he's lost his powers before, and it's never been like this. And I really loved they did a thing. I brought this up, so excuse me, but like there was this cool thing where Logan lost his powers and Ben Grimm, and they went on missions together, and it was like so awesome and so much fun. And this is the opposite of that.
I did like the idea midway through the issue. There's a moment where he and Alicia are out on a date and they get attacked by a mugger, and he instinctually, which I thought was a really good thought, a good, well-written scene, he instinctually is like, oh, I'm made of rock, so I'm going to grab the gun, and then he gets shot in his palm. Love that. I thought that was really well cool. Emotionally done. But then when they go to the hospital immediately afterwards, and Reed's like, that was great. It missed all the important stuff in your hand. I was like, they shot you directly in your palm. That's where a lot of important stuff is. But I don't know. I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old like cartoon, like if you put your finger on the gun, like he tried to put his hand on it, But yeah, if you're made of rock, it works. But yeah, now that you're human, it's not, there's no longer, yeah. So it was also weird that like afterwards he was in kind of crutches, and I was like, what about his hand? But yeah, so depressing, this issue.
Well, why don't we move on to the next one here? We got Doom's Division number 1, written by Yoon-Ha Lee, art by Ming-Kyu Young. This is focusing on what starts out as a Korean team of heroes, but ultimately includes folks from throughout Asia, all coming under the Emperor Doom. What do you guys think about this one? Pete?
Yeah, sure. I think this was cool. Great art. I'm not sure like whose side they're on, but yeah, the statue just seems to kind of like hate people or hate technology. So that was kind of an interesting where the statue just got angry, and then they were like, hey, why don't you just sit back down, old guy, and be cool? And then he was like, all right, cool.
A lot of statues hate technology because they're like the original technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like this one. I thought this gave an interesting view on the open borders thing that happened in One World Under Doom #2 in particular.
Yeah.
Like, overall, this event feels a little murky to me at times. Like we talked about, I think, probably not last week, but a couple of weeks back after the first issue about... I'm not quite sure if they're all on the same level, because in some places it's like Doom is controlling the entire world, and other places are like, well, it's all right. It's fine. I'm not quite getting all... What were you going to say, Justin?
I was going to say, I agree with you. It's sort of unfocused. There's a book we're going to talk about in a minute here that I think actually feels the most like an event and a superhero response to an event. And all these books are interesting takes, but I guess I'm just missing the central spine that is rallying all of this stuff. And these are, like this book I thought was interesting and fun and taking a small little piece of it and running with it. But it had me contrasting this with what's going on in DC, with with everything that's happened with Darkseid in the All-In stuff and the missing powers, and everything on the DC side feels so focused and rallying around the central facts of their universe right now, and Marvel seems to be in the opposite place from just an organizational point of view.
Yeah. Well, moving it over to Doom Academy #2, then, written by Mackenzie Cadenhead, art by Pasquale Ferry and Yao MP Lemos. We are following a bunch of students in the new Doom Academy. One of them is trapped inside of a fairy tale book, and the rest of her friends are trying to figure out what happened to her. Really fun magic school vibes of this book. Yeah. This is like the total opposite of everything else, but I'm a big fan of magic school stuff, and this is nailing it perfectly.
You're a sucker for magic school?
I am.
That's really nice. Yeah, your application. You applied to major in the dark arts at Cornell. Is that correct?
I did, and the teacher died.
Mysteriously?
I don't want to say mysteriously, but...
Mysteriously?
I don't know. They blamed a bearded Ithaca College student and never found out who it was.
Yeah, nobody knows anything about that. Yeah, I think this is, an interesting kind of like fun take. I love the art style, but we kind of have the team fighting each other a little bit here. And then the nicest Doombot I've ever seen in my life. So that was kind of... was just weird with the timing of everything, where I was just like, well, I don't buy that this Doombot is nice right now, but, all right.
I mean, he's still sort of a dick.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was very helpful.
They just chat him up. Well, they know how to talk to him. I think this book is doing a lot, taking the Doom stuff and putting it in a good place to tell this story that is focused on something completely different. But I like the use of the Doombot here and the Doom paintings. They're definitely just replacing...
the moving on,
like a Scooby-Doo styles, a Voldemort type character with Dr. Doom, but it's really working, I think.
Yeah. Next up, I know this is Justin's favorite, Thunderbolts Doomstrike #2, written by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, art by Tommaso Bianchi. Justin, why don't you talk about
Justin's
this one?
Favorite?
This is a book that I feel like is the signature book for this One World Under Doom crossover. It's Bucky leading this, like, doomed to lose, pun intended, rebellion against the dictator who's taken over the world. This is a team I can get behind. I like the use of great and up-to-date continuity we have with a lot of characters, including the one featured on the cover here. And you really feel for Bucky, and he has to make some hard choices here. Like, oh, that was sort of fucked up.
Did you want to say cool cover here? Is that what you meant to say, or?
No, I just meant to say that the character featured on the cover is also in another book right now. I was surprised to see them crossed over so tight.
Hell Hunters, yes.
Yeah,
You didn't want to say it was a cool cover, though. You didn't want to say that.
I would never veer into your lane, Pete.
Okay.
And it's a loose term, calling it a lane that you
as I like to say,
cover.
cool interiors on the book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because there really were. Like, the thing that is on the cover with having the World War II Ghost Rider fighting a Doctor Doom train that has run away across the Old West. Very fun.
Yeah, but it's not just
Very
a Doctor Doom train. Like, it has his face on the front, like it's Thomas
That's
the fucking
implied
train.
by a Doctor Doom train. Otherwise, I would have said one of Doctor Doom's trains, but this is a Thomas the Tank Engine style Doctor Doom train.
It is. And
Now,
they try to
let me ask
stop
you-
it by hitting it with a bat and a shield, and that is just hysterical.
And it works.
It works. Yeah, it
I
works.
wouldn't recommend
when do you
that.
think-
And kids, I just want to tell you that works on real trains as
Nope.
well.
I was just saying the opposite of that.
Oh, really?
yeah.
You guys grew up in different areas. When do you think when Doom took over the world, he was like, and make the trains my face, do it. Was that a number one thing?
Well, number one.
Is he a Thomas the Tank Engine fan, as you were saying?
Yeah.
He was like, I want to be that guy.
Right.
When I grow up, I want to be
The
Thomas
Marvel
the Tank.
Universe version of Project 2025, bullet point number one was Doom faces on trains.
Make trains look like my face.
Make trains great again. Is that what's happening?
Something like that. Great book. Next up, Red Hulk number 2, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Jeph Shaw. Red Hulk is locked in Doom's prison and is trying to escape with a bunch of other folks, including, per the cover, Machine Man and Deathlock. Really fun prison break book as well. Period.
Oh.
Yeah. Really well staged. It's sort of like a Prison Break meets Ocean's 11 movie, except it doesn't go great for a lot of the people.
Yeah, not very well planned out.
Yeah, well, but they're sort of flying by the seat of their pants. And so the end, I thought, was really interesting. What happens? I was like, oh, you guys are going to have a real problem beating this.
Yeah, I love that last panel reveal. That was epic, and it felt really cool. But yeah, cool prison break, fun idea, well executed. So this was cool.
All right, that's it for the Doom Room this time, and we're taking everyone down with us. Number 1 from Image Comics, written by Matthew Rosenberg, art by Stefano Landini. We had Matthew Rosenberg on our live show this week and talked to him about this book, so check out the full chat there.
Talk to him about the book.
He got very deep into talking about it, which I thought was very interesting. But the general premise of the book is, what if we were following a Bond villain and his daughter when Bond attacks? What happens next? We're taking everyone down with us. That's what's going to happen next. But the first issue is really squarely focused on the relationship between the daughter and the father, which I thought was a very neat perspective, along with some great art from Stefano Landini.
We talked about it a lot, the sort of combination of just like different ways of telling the story, from the scary moments we get, especially at the beginning. There's some great comedy moments here, while still being inside of these genres that Alex just described, but telling a completely original story where you're really riding with this daughter character as she finds out these surprising things about her dad. Great first issue. Super excited to see where this is going.
Yeah, it was cool to hear Bergie kind of talk about where he was coming from on this. Also, the fact that he likes to write things from kind of like personal experiences, which made me a little worried that maybe he's an evil supervillain. But yeah, this is a really cool book.
He's the villain there. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
I
the
think
Bond.
I think that he has a daughter locked away that is run by robots and doing all of his evil plans. You know what I mean? This comic
gives him
book
time to
writer
write.
job isn't, you know what I mean? We know that doesn't pay enough, you know?
Yeah, but robots pay.
Robots pay. Great wrap up for the review. Let's move on to the biggest issue of the week. Harley Quinn Fartacular, silent
Jesus
but deadly, number 1 from DC Comics, written by Johan Sterer, art by Brandon Stein. Now, I will say there has been so much conversation about this online. People are livid that this even exists.
What?
This is some of the...
Why are they mad?
Well, that's my question back at them, is what exactly are they mad about? I've seen responses like, DC is out of ideas. Everybody involved in this should be fired. How dare you?
Wow.
And frankly, I think, not to cast too many aspersions, I think it has to do with the misogyny that this comic book directly addresses in a super smart and very funny way, which is girls fart too. I don't know if you guys knew that, but it's true.
You think that's why people are upset?
Yeah, this is really eye-opening for me, this book.
I think it kind of is. Like, I think the whole point of this book, which I thought was really smartly done, is like, hey man, everybody does it, and it's kind of funny when people do it sometimes, so let's just lean into that and pack so many puns and jokes in every single panel and page throughout here. I thought this, and this is coming from a person who doesn't like potty humor that much, I thought this was very, very fun and a really well done book with a very smart point behind it.
Well, farts aren't potty humor, Alex, because farts can happen anywhere. So, like, that's just regular humor.
Not for me. I always run to the potty. And I have a potty still. I still use it. Wow. I use a potty. You guys don't use a potty?
No, man. I'm a grown-ass man, dog.
Yeah, my mama, she throws it out. My mama throws it out after she cleans and changes me.
This is another reason to go buy your comics in the comic book store, because this is a scratch and sniff, which I think is hysterical. If you're going to do it all the way. But what I love about this work, because I don't like blue humor as much, but what I loved about this
potty humor.
What I loved about
you
this
guys both sound so old. Potty blue.
Yeah. Anyways, farts aside, what's nice about this is this love story between these two characters, and besides their differences, they still find ways to love each other, and that is the basis of these two characters, and it's glorious. And even in this kind of stupid, silly thing, it's still there. So I appreciate that, and it was nice to see. And yeah, buy it, because I want to see how bad someone tell me how bad the farts smell in this. So I need to go to the comic book shop and get this just for the smell.
I'll send you a box, Pete. Of farts. I thought this was great. A lot of great jokes.
I don't want your farts.
No, but these are they've been blessed by DC.
Okay.
There are a lot of great jokes, but there's a lot of James Joyce talk in here that I thought was really good. It gave it like some real world underpinnings here, and then the relationship that Pete mentioned. I want to shout out a joke that made me laugh the most. Another character is describing Harley Quinn, and she says, "You look like a stripper if stripper was a baby." I was like,
boom, "Thank you."
Nailed.
The fact that she said "thank you" is what made me laugh. Yeah. I love that.
This perfectly nails the voice of Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy. The new villain, Dutch Oven, is absolutely ridiculous. The whole thing I thought was great, and I know I said this on the live show, but I'll say it again. I just really appreciate, like, what a crazy week for DC Comics to have Absolute Martian Manhunter, which is stunning and gorgeous, Hatouche, which is this blockbuster thing, sold 400,000 copies, and then also a complete goof, purposeful goof of a comic that has a scratch and sniff fart cover. That's great. Like, I think when we're talking about what we want out of mainstream comics, I don't want the same superhero fights.
Do you think it's like...
Hold on, let me finish what I'm saying. I don't want the same superhero fights every time out of the gate. That gets boring. That's like Domino's Pizza making of comics, where it's like we hit the exact middle of what everybody wants. Is a fart comic book going to be for everybody? Absolutely not. But if you're going to do it, go for it. Make it well done. Make it as smart as this. And put it out the same week as all these other comics that are wildly different.
Now, do you think it smells like hot garbage, or do you think they went more of a expired egg? You know what I mean?
Expired egg, I think. Sulfur,
I bet they went more sulfur with it. Yeah.
Because this is the Demons comic book. This is the devil himself wrote this. Whoa. Also, everybody who's getting upset about a fart comic book online, grow up. All right, Wolverine Revenge, number 5 from Marvel, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Greg Capullo, is the final issue here of this "You All Laughed at Me, but Old Man Logan" tale, as he fights against Colossus's kid and a Sabretooth in a wheelchair, just like we always wanted him to. Pete, take it away.
Yeah, this is just glorious. I mean, anytime you got the Cap on art and working on Wolverine, just, I'm there. And this is just badass as hell, pun intended there. This is fun. This is over the top, and I had an absolute blast with this. This is very cool and worth picking up. If you like Wolverine, you're going to love this.
I feel like when we first started reading this, we were like, Jonathan Hickman doing a Revenge Wolverine book. Okay. And I definitely have that feeling at the end as well, where I was like, what is this about? And, like, it's good. It's interesting. The fact that Sabretooth goes down, Wolverine, like, talks shit about him, and he has Colossus's son fastball special him out of his, like, wheelchair, and Wolverine literally just holds his hand up and dices him. I was like, what? What's the point of this? And then the end, like, Wolverine is doing battle in a place I wouldn't expect him to be interested in dominating. But
it's weird because Hickman is always so heady, and this is the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I think he gets towards the point, towards the end here. The thing that you were bouncing around is he ends up in limbo, and he talks, literally, I think, says something out loud, I'm paraphrasing here, about, well, I guess sometimes when you're on the road to revenge, you end up in a hell of your own making. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's where you started with this, so that you end here. But you don't expect Hickman to be that blunt and over the top with this sort of thing.
Yeah.
He's always, like, very analytical about his stuff. I think it's just like he thought, what would be the most fun for Greg Capullo to draw? Wolverine in hell killing demons is a good answer to that.
It is a great answer.
And there's some great I like Wolverine's facial hair. Capullo draws that well. There's some great just, like, shots with him.
That was blood. Like lip fucked up from the sword. That was crazy looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is great stuff. I love this comic, man. Sometimes you just want a simple revenge story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or in your case, all the time.
Yes. Speaking of which, Bitter Root, the next movement, #1 from Image Comics, written by David F. Walker and Chuck Brown, art by Sanford Green. After a very long time, this monster hunting tale is back with a new storyline. Pete, I know you're a huge fan. You're cheering right now, but you're a huge fan of Bitter Root. What'd you think about this return to the world of the book?
Awesome. Fantastic. First issue does a great job of kind of like setting up what's happening, getting you so excited. I'm a huge fan of Sanford Green. I think his art is just amazing and next level. Such an interesting tone for this book. I just can't say enough great things about this. The character designs are awesome. And plus there's this interesting, because it's called Bitter Root, and the Roots, the band, have this song called The Next Movement, and that's the title of this. And I was wondering if there's any kind of a nod to that at all. So,
synergy. You've asked the right guys.
So, I'm very excited about this, and I think it's a glorious first issue.
I like this too, like getting into some horror elements here while also dealing with a lot of the stuff the original series did with this family trying to survive, dealing with the society around them, race, monsters, the monsters who are racist. There's a lot of stuff here, and it's really good. I like that everything has just sort of turned a corner with the story they're telling.
Next up, Absolute Wonder Woman #6 from DC Comics, written by Kelly Thompson, art by Matea de Luis and Dustin Nguyen. The front story has Wonder Woman back in hell and dealing with Hades and not exactly paying for her crimes, but sort of explaining how she escaped and what is going to happen next. And then there's a backup story that kicks off here, which is little Absolute Wonder Woman in hell. Pete, go ahead.
Little Diana, man, this is great. Both of these are just really awesome. The little Diana is amazing and cute. And, the first story, very interesting. This version of the devil I thought was such a cool kind of like look and something I haven't ever seen before. But this is just badass. Wonder Woman just kind of kicking ass and taking names. So I love this, and some interesting kind of takes on the different lassos of truth here. So cool.
The art in this and the color specifically are so good. It's
Would you
such
say it's
a
a
different...
Cool cover? Would you say that?
No, no, I said colors. I said the colors are really good. Pete's a Pokemon named Cool Cover, and that's why he says that all the time. It's just fantastic art throughout. It has a mythological undertone, and we get to see her doing a lot of big mythological things in every issue, specifically this one. And I mean, I feel like we say this and rotate through all the Absolute books, but this is the best Absolute book, at least right now when we're reviewing it here, as I'm saying it.
No, I think you're right. And the team here was also on a fantastic book that I think was one of our best of the year, The Call, which was absolutely incredible. They worked together on that.
Remember The Call?
Yes,
of course.
Great book. Definitely check that out. But having Matea de Luis on this, you're absolutely right. It gives it sort of like this carved in granite look throughout that's coming out here. Love the stories, love the tales. It's awesome. I was a huge fan of Greek mythology growing up, and this is bringing me right back there. Feels like a nice nostalgia bath, is the way that I would phrase it.
I've heard that phrase. That's a very common phrase.
Yes. All right.
And for those of you at home, listening at home, what you didn't hear is Alex smashed himself in the head with a hammer, and that's what made him say nostalgia bath as a regular thing to say. That's the only reason anyone would
It's
say
worth it for the art alone. The Amazing Spider-Man number 70 from Marvel, written by Joe Kelly, art by Ed McGuinness and Kafu. This is the final issue of Amazing Spider-Man. I can't believe it. 70 issues, which is a couple of years, but we met this character a couple of years back, and this is the final issue here. I guess Spider-Man wasn't popular enough to keep a title going, but I do hope we see another Spider-Man title at some point in the future. But as is, they finally paid off on what we knew was going to happen in issue 1. He is now a juggernaut.
Yeah, I want to agree with Justin right off the bat and just say this is a cool cover. This is just kind of crazy, over the fun juggernaut Spider-Man, which, there's a place for that. There's a place for that in the world. And if you just want to be like, you know what, let's have some juggernaut fun, I loved it. I thought that,
You love this.
I thought this was fun. Just Spider-Man as Juggernaut. Like, I don't want this always to be Spider-Man, but I thought this was kind of a little bit of a lighter take. And then it gets really deep. It goes from like silly fun of like, hey, Spider-Man's Juggernaut, to Spider-Man showing this evil god what life is all about, and he's so moved that he's just like, oh, wow, I didn't know life was this deep. And Spider-Man's like, yeah, dude, get out there and start living it. And he's like, all right, maybe I will.
Yeah, Sidorak, great Spider-Man foe. Get out there and start living. And that's what he does here. This arc has been all about Spider-Man's real superpower, his guilt, empathy, and humanity. And that's what we get here. He inspires the Sidorak's daughter, who I see a spark, but I don't know if we're going to get that here as a relationship.
He's back together with Shay by the end.
Dude, that last panel made me want to throw up in my fucking hand.
Oh, what? In your hand?
Yeah, because you can't spell any on the comic you're reading.
Maybe want to throw up in my hand and then eat the throw up and then throw up again.
If you throw up in your...
I don't know.
If you throw up on your comic book,
vicious. Your hand is tiny. You're gonna catch. There's no way you're gonna catch your throw up.
Have you ever thrown up on your hand? Have you ever thrown up on your hand?
Yes.
It's gross. Yes, because it comes through your fingers. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you can't catch your puke in your hand, Pete. I don't know what.
You can if it's a small amount of throw up.
What do you? That's you're spitting up like a baby. That's not throwing up. Throwing up is your whole stomach.
It doesn't have to be the all of it. Sometimes.
Yeah. By the way, Pete, I forgot to ask. Do you need to go potty? Because we can stop for a moment.
Yeah,
Pete, you don't have to use the potty. I'm not like someone who's potty training.
Yeah, you use a diaper.
Do you need Baba? Do you need Baba?
What the fuck are you talking about?
The last panel is Peter in a romantic pose with Shay. I was shocked at this.
Boo.
Yeah. Honestly, I like this moment. If that's what we're doing, then let's actually do it. Because he had a great chat with Black Cat, and I was like, let's do that. but then it doesn't seem like that's
we know
what's
you
happening.
like Black Cat. We know that.
I don't know. I actually really like this story. I will just throw out there. I feel like
same.
it is the exception to my rule of not liking magical Spider-Man stories because, like you said, I thought there was a good emotional underpinning here and some fun moments. I would love us to put a moratorium on fastball specials at this point because it happens in this issue.
We've done it too much.
There are other moves.
Agree.
We don't have to do it all the time.
I feel like there's one more to talk about in this stack. We're not even done with it.
Yes, there's definitely another one at some point.
But when the enemy's just a little ahead of you, it's just the perfect move. What are you going to do? Run at him? You know what I mean? Fastball special. Come on.
Sure.
Yeah, when Batman throws Hush at Joker as a fastball special, I thought that was too far. Flobe.
A douche. The preview for Joe Kelly's upcoming run, I know I was being pithy at the beginning, but we are going to get a new Spider-Man #1 coming very soon. And that's good. I'm glad we're going to have a back-to-basics Spider-Man. That will be fun to read. Joe Kelly's been pretty good on this so far. I hope maybe there is a continuation of the alternation with Justina Ireland because I thought she did a really good job as well on this title.
Agreed.
But I guess we will see. Vampirella #1 from Dynamite, written by Christopher Priest. Art by Ergun Gundes. We had Priest on the show a couple of weeks back. Great chat with him. Justin, not to steal your thunder here, but I think all of us are like, I don't know about Vampirella, but he is a great salesman.
Give Justin his thunder back. What are you doing, man?
Justin.
Can I please retain my thunder?
Sure, you're the thunder from down under.
Oh, boy.
That's right. I'm right down here, and that's what I call a fartacular coming out of my butt.
Oh my God.
This book is great. Like we talked, if you don't know what this book is about, you will not be able to predict it, especially given the cover that we're looking at right here on the screen. It is not about what's happening on the cover. It's an interesting character study of a vampire from space who is dealing with all too human things of being a parent, being stressed about that, and the places this story is going, as revealed to us by Priest on the live show, is even more wild. And I just thought this was a great #1, perfect jumping on point for a emotional and interesting story.
Yeah, plus it's hilarious. The therapist bit was so funny. He throws a phone at a vampire's head. I fell out laughing. It was it caught me as just so funny, such a funny thing to do. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm having
And if you're going to throw a phone at a monster coming into your house, may I recommend Cricket Wired? It's like Cricket Wireless, but it's a landline. And it's one
harder
of
because
sponsors.
you got a cord. You got to work the cord in there.
You got to throw it really hard.
Snap back and hit you in the face.
It's a monster who's really closing in on you. And if you have a monster closing in on you, I would recommend Cricket Wired.
Yeah, I also like the fact that this is like a cool look at Vampirella in a non-pervy way. And it's a great story and very interesting and just really well. And there's also this soap opera like twist. Oh man, it's a
great ending to the issue as well, and really good art and layouts throughout. Very impressed by this. Next up,
one last thing on that: the idea of someone looking at this cover, not knowing anything about what they're getting into, and picking it up and being like, "Oh, motherhood." Okay.
Well, when you think of motherhood, you don't think of this.
Yeah, there's like
that's exactly
postpartum depression is like two wolf beasts chained by a half-naked lady. I've always said.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, how do you talk about depression?
I saw that commercial, actually. Pete's in a commercial for depression meds. And he's like, how do you
talk about depression?
Really gets on their faces about it. It's very upsetting. The Seasons #3 from Image Comics, written by Rick Remender, art by Paul Azaceta. We're following Summer Seasons, who is creeped out by a creepy carnival that's come to town. But her sister, Winter Seasons, I want to say, doesn't believe her and just wants to make roast and dinner and be manic depressive. What are you guys feeling? How you going? How you doing?
I love this book. This book is so, it's fun. It's a nice little fantastical world. It's one of Rick Remender's least dark books, at least from these first 3 issues we've gotten so far.
Give him a chance.
I'm sure it's going to get there. The villains being just straight up clowns. It's funny. It feels like a little bit like a Euro comic. It's just, I've just liking the total package that we're getting here. Definitely highly recommended.
I agree. This is a total package. It just makes me upset when people don't listen to each other, especially siblings. But this is so creepy. Clowns are very scary. No offense, Alvin.
And you're famously someone who's never argued with his sibling, his brother.
Yeah, I don't think so. Alex's sibling? I've never fought with Alex's brother.
No, your brother.
No, I'm talking about you fighting with your brother. Well, you act like this is a police investigation, and maybe it will. Maybe it will.
I want my lawyer. We should have a lawyer on every podcast.
Oh, definitely.
That's all expensive. Right. Far Down Below, #1 from Mad Cave Studios, written by Chris Condon, art by JJ Schall. We are starting out in the past exploring a weird, and I appreciated this, a mad cave, if you will. And then we cut to the 1980s with a bunch of Star Wars loving kids who are exploring a haunted house and enter that same mad cave by the end, which is Far Down Below. What do you guys think about the kickoff to the series?
Yeah, it's cool.
I really enjoyed this. Good.
No,
Pete?
You go ahead.
No, Pete, you were going to say it was really cool, great art, and the cover.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. This is very cool, very creative and interesting, spooky, but the art's unbelievable. What were you going to say, Justin?
I love Chris Condon. I feel like all of his books feel very different from one another that he's doing right now. We're going to talk about another one in a little bit, I think. A couple more, actually. And so this one, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the meeting point between the two halves of this story are yet, but I'm excited to get there. It's big sort of sci-fi at the top, and then regular people going about their business, maybe drawn from nerds in their earlier lives, perhaps. But I thought this was great. Loved his work. The art really works here. Enjoying it.
Yeah, it feels a little bit, I mean, like you said, it's hard to tell exactly what they're going for after this first issue, even though I thought this was really well drawn and well characterized throughout. But my guess is it's closest to, like, what if the Goonies turned out to be The Descent is sort of what we're going for, but we'll see.
Oh, great call, happens. Yeah.
Good start. Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, #6 for DC Comics, written by Jeph Loeb, art by Enrico Marini. In this issue, things are happening in Gotham City.
Yeah, this is awesome. First off,
I don't know.
Amazing art, very cool story, tons of action, twists and turns, and everybody's in this. I mean, you got Grundy, you got Catwoman, you got Ivy, you got Mr. Freeze, you got Two-Face, you got Waller, you got Gordon, you got Robin, you got Mrs. Dent.
Oh my God! This is like the trolley. Wow. This is the trolley all-star mix of comic books, right, Pete?
Yeah. Plus, you get some homage to Tim Sale and some nods to his art in here. So, yeah, this is fantastic, man. This is a nostalgia bath, if you will.
Oh boy!
Well, that sounds insane. Whoever would ever say that. The Amanda Waller revelation here or reveal, I was very surprised about. Interesting. Character to toss into the mix.
Did you like how Batman leaned down to get into a grill piece?
Yeah, I do like this. I think the art really works, but I'm not really tracking the mystery here or the story. This particular issue felt like Batman just checking up on a lot of different stuff.
Well, that's the thing. It's a long Halloween, so you gotta get ready.
Yeah. And there's a great scene in the middle of the issue of Batman and Robin in the Batcave where Batman's just like lecturing Robin. Like, that was really well done. And I like the end of the issue. But as opposed to the earlier Long Halloween stories, like, it felt like there was a real cohesion to them. And this one just, I'm not quite on it. And maybe that's my bad, but I'm not really seeing the total story.
Pool Illuminati, #1 from Marvel, written by Zach Corbin and Alexia Quasarano, art by Todd Knock and Enid Balám. Per the title, this is a bunch of Deadpools getting together, Deadpool core style, except there's a Pool Illuminati and a Pool Illuminati with 2 L's, and they're just not agreeing on stuff. Pete!
Yeah,
Happy April Pools Day.
Hey, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, hey, for April Pools Day, you want a little bit of pool madness, and this scratches that itch, you know what I mean? You got Lady Pool right on the cover there, so, yeah, it's, as long as you don't think about the real people attached to this is fine. This is cool.
The real people attached to this?
What real people?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about, you're talking about? You just become Canadian for a
what
second?
you talking about?
Who'd you
well, I
talking
support
about?
our Canadian neighbors and the troubles we're giving them right now.
Yeah, I just
The troubles.
I'm just saying the married couple on the cover is in a little bit of hot water right now. That's all I'm saying.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively?
That's right.
I feel like they're the positive end of that, right?
And I think they're getting along fine. It's the
they're good.
other side of that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know all the stuff.
Yeah.
I just know people are talking
I will say,
about it.
I'm not surprised Pete isn't tracking the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni controversy as much as the rest of the internet. That's a safe place for us, I think. It's just very funny to me that you brought it up as a concern reading Pool Illuminati. Do you think this comic will be featured in court? You think this is evidence, perhaps?
I mean, they're on the cover. You know what I mean? It could be.
That's a real stretch there. I actually think this comic does a great job of capturing the Deadpool sense of humor in a good way. Like, this is a fun Deadpool comic. If you've Deadpool, a constantly overexposed character of a lot of the stuff that we've been reading lately, this felt like a fun story if you want that just core Deadpool meta fun jokes, big fight stuff.
Next up, we've got Kids, #1 from Image Comics, written by Garth Ennis, art by Dalibor Telejic. This is another title from Ninth Circle, which does a bunch of prestige horror one-shots. And I'll tell you what, they said it couldn't be done. They said, Garth Ennis, there is no way you could ever do crossed babies. Yet, here we are. He pulled it off, and he made it work in a comic book. So kudos to him. Kudos to Garth
first
Ennis.
off, how dare you take your shots at Garth Ennis? I
I'm
think
not. Those are not even shots. But
That's maybe a compliment that was.
I mean, yeah.
Reference.
first off, hilarious.
Sorry,
cover.
how dare you do shots with Garth Ennis? Is that what you're saying?
That would be fucking amazing. I think that Garth Ennis is still very creative, has crazy ideas, and this is one of them, and it's well executed. And I think this is a interesting nightmare scenario that I've never thought about, but obviously he has. So I thought this was a blast and twisted and weird, and I'm like, oh man, Garth Ennis is still doing it, man. I think it's impressive.
By the way, the scenario, since I didn't actually describe it at the beginning, is suddenly all the babies in world become full-grown adults, and it turns into a pseudo-zombie apocalypse because of that.
Yeah, because they're still kind of babies and they don't know what they're doing, but now they're full-grown and they can get in trouble.
But everyone freaks
I mean, could
out.
you imagine if like a bunch of full-grown adults were like talking about using the potty and wanting their baba and stuff? That would be
my God.
wild.
Wild. Angry mob that was running around just like, trashing everything.
This podcast has been a very long-term tie-in to this comic book. We've been the giant babies this whole time. Just 18 years of tying it in. Doing here and tying one on, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
I love this book.
Drink from my bottle.
I thought, the real bottle, I thought this was fantastic. I loved this. I thought it was the backdoor into a zombie story that they found with this premise. I thought was really well done, and then paid off really well by the end. Really great.
That twist at the end was crazy.
That made me laugh out loud. That was a great classic Garth Ennis
so
ending
good
to a book.
Yeah.
There we go. Black Canary, the best of the best. Number 5 from DC Comics, written by Tom King, art by Ryan Sook. It is the 5th round of the fight between Black Canary and Lady Shiva, and they are both bloodied and bruised. Meanwhile, some big stuff going down in the flashback with Black Canary and her mother, or multiple flashbacks with Black Canary and her mother. What do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, this continues to be one of my favorite books. I'm having such a blast with this. It's great to get to kind of know Black Canary and her mom and that whole relationship and the kind of ups and downs and all that kind of stuff. And then meanwhile, flashing back to this insane fight and the things that Shiva kind of whispered to her were so fucked up. Yeah, this is just unbelievable. The art, the action, the story, this is just hitting on many levels for me, and I just think it's an absolute blast. It's touching, it's badass, it's all the things.
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on too. Like Tom King's ability to switch gears here between the upsetting scenes of Black Canary's mom and her illness, them fighting and training and being superheroes together, and then the actual fight with Lady Shiva. Many different tones. And I got to say, I've turned the corner. I like the announcers now. They're really coming together, especially in this, where they're able to, before they were just saying stuff, offering some humor, and now they're actually, what they're saying is starting to really tie in more thematically in a way that I think, very smartly done. Great package.
It's a tight package. Ultimate Wolverine, number 3 from Marvel. Written once again by Chris Condon, art by Alessandro Cappuccio. In this issue, some big stuff are going down as Ultimate Wolverine goes after Ultimate Kitty Pryde and Ultimate Gambit, who are kissing, and it's gross.
What the? How are these two kissing?
Ew.
I knew you would hated that, dude. I knew you hated that. That's hilarious.
Wait.
I'm a one-issue reader, and my one issue is they shouldn't be kissing.
Oh, that's
But here's the thing, Alex. Are you mad because Gambit's not kissing Rogue, or because you're not kissing Kitty Pryde, or both?
We don't need to get into
this. That's exactly
we don't need to get it.
That's exactly right.
Down. Whoa.
Answer the question.
Both.
Alex Pride, written on his notebook. Alex Pride. I do like the fact that this book is bringing us the X-Men of the Ultimate Universe, which we haven't really. Obviously, there is the Ultimate X-Men book, but that feels different. And this is touching on these mutants in this current timeline doing their stuff. The Ultimate Wolverine character himself, I liked a bit of a revelation we get here, but such a closed book so far, and I'm curious. This is like Logan as a Winter Soldier type character. I'm ready for him to sort of unlock a little bit, and we get a little taste of that. So looking forward to more of that.
Yeah, you feel sad for him at the end here. The kind of last couple of panels, you're just like, oh, poor Ultimate Wolverine. This is really.
I can't handle a Wolverine that doesn't have his full memories. I want a Wolverine who remembers it all.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I just want a Wolverine that can talk a little bit. You know what I mean? Let me know if he's okay, because he just seems so sad right now. And
he's usually so verbose in most comic books that,
I love how he's always saying, "I'm okay, bub. Hey, bub, I'm okay, bub."
Fuck
is his
line.
line.
Guys.
Leave me alone, Deadpool.
I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is be okay, bub.
Really good art in this book, and all joking aside, I do like how they're shaking things up with these X-Men characters in a very different way. I thought the Gambit was interesting, the Kitty Pryde was interesting, we get Black Widow in here as well. I think this book is cool, and it's really growing on me. Curious to see what happens next issue. The Exorcism.
And just Alex, real quick, just wipe the smudges off your iPad where you were kissing Kitty Pryde on it before you do anything else.
No problem. The Exorcism at 1600 pen, number 4 from IDW, written by Hannah Rose May, art by Vanessa Del Rey. This is about a demonic possession that is happening at the White House, and I believe the cover that we're looking at here is a photo from the actual White House. I could be wrong.
Whoa, shots fired.
Regardless, we've been wondering all book whether it is a scientific explanation for what's going on with Havana syndrome or if it was a demon. Guess what? it's a demon. And they go straight
Twist.
for it in this issue. What do you guys think about the finale here?
I want to just highlight in this book the way the panels are broken out, and as this goes on, it's like super dark and moody. The action is just sort of floating in a black space, and it's something that I didn't expect this book to really make a big art choice like that, and I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, artistically, it's really badass and scary as fuck, so that's pretty cool.
I really like this book a lot. I like the fact that it skirted politics without actually referencing anything that's happening. But good family drama, really, like you said, scary art, scary demon. I really like the last panel. I mean, spoiler here, obviously, but it ends in a surprisingly happy and hopeful way at the end. But then we have this final panel of like shadows encroaching on the White House that I thought was really beautifully done. So shouts out to the whole team there for a well done book. Radiant Black, number 32 from Image Comics, written by Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark, art by Eduardo Ferragamo with Marcelo Costa. Radiant Black is still dealing with the fallout from the Catalyst War, and he is in this issue trying to go on dates at the same time in a very fun sequence. Period.
I like the date. I like the dating stuff here. This book is always just meticulously moving the story forward. There's small things happening, big things happening. This comparison happens a lot with Radiant Black and Invincible, I think. But the specific comparison I want to make is that everything is constantly in motion in a good way, moving forward. Very cool. And I'm going to get back to me drawing Godzilla and Fin Fang Foom just fucking.
Oh boy, jeez. Well, send me the fan art later. Yeah, I think that it's hard to keep talking about amazing things for this book because it continually pushes and moves things in an interesting way. Yeah, this book is artistically impressive as fuck. The story keeps me on its toes. I never know what's going to happen, but it's always really good. So this is doing that again.
There you go. More of the same. Green Arrow, number 22 from DC Comics, written by, you're not going to believe this, Chris Condon, with art by Montos. We're continuing the Freshwater Killer arc as Green Arrow gets even deeper into it and starts to figure out more about this mystery. Or more specifically, we get more information about this mystery. I will give a shout out to, I love how information is being rolled out in this comic book. I think it's really smartly done and gives the the reader, a better sense of what is going on than the characters who are really trying to play catch up the entire time.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
A great mystery that is unfolding with Oliver Queen being on the wrong side of this, pushing Green Arrow to be on the right side of it. The Montos art is really nice. Really like a lot of explanation in this comic, but then a lot in this issue and a lot of like just nice action, mostly silent panels in the back half.
Yeah, I mean, the art's unbelievable here. Spoilers, but I'm glad they didn't kill that dog. That would have been really fucked up. But Arrow still sucks in my book.
Wow.
Crazy. Kill Train, number 3 from Bad Cave Studios, written by Olivia.
Kill Train!
Yeah! Living in New York City, yeah!
Move over, Doom Train. It's time for the Kill Train. Written by Olivia Quartero Briggs, art by Martina Niosi. This is about a version of New York where, because of overpopulation, every once in a while they randomly murder everybody on an entire subway train. And we're following a bunch of folks that have been trapped on a kill train and are fighting their way from the back of the train to the front of the train so they can hopefully survive and escape. And one character in particular, our main character, is having a psychotic break. Even more so than she did in the first 2 issues, leading to some absolutely wild sequences here. What do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I mean,
I love this book. I'm a sucker for the Kill Train. I ride them every day almost, so I get it. This book, the the sort of psychotic break that the main character is going through. Did not see that coming. It adds such a sort of trippy element to this over the course of the story that is pretty straightforward, like train car by train car, Snowpiercer style battle against a new and even more insane psycho killer. It had me thinking this issue, how did they load the psychos onto the kill train? Were they like, all right, you're in car 2, Chainsaw. Don't kill yet. We got to wait till the 4:02 and we leave the station. Funny to think how it actually works, but very fun.
Yeah, the coordination behind it is really impressive. Yeah, I mean, this is just...
hey, kudos to Mayor Adams. That's all I've got to say.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
He's really put a lot of his political capital behind the kill train.
Yeah, it's kind of all in on the kill train. Yeah, I mean, this is just a really fun idea, well executed, and by it's a nightmare situation, and yeah. But
that's why you moved out of New York, because you lived here for like a couple weeks when you were young, right, Pete? And then you moved out of New York because you were scared of the kill train.
Visited, stayed at a
it was a visit.
hotel. Yeah, you stayed in Times Square, went to see The Lion King, and then left.
Yeah,
it was almost 22 years.
Wow. 22 years.
Holy God. Wow. I wish we had hung out.
Hotel stay. Can I throw you guys a theory about Kill Train?
Sure.
Yes.
So here's how I think it's going to go. This is I'm going to lay out what I think is going to happen.
You think the conductor is the worst one of them all?
Obviously, they always are.
Okay.
No, I think what's going to happen is, first of all, part of her psychotic break is her best friend, who's really supportive of her, is not actually there. I think she's imagining her.
Agree.
I think she's going to fight her way to the front of the train, be the last one left, but is so crazy that she becomes one of the killers on the kill train.
She was the one killing the whole time.
I agree. Well, no, I think Alex is saying she's going to be on the next kill train. The kill train. That's really good. I was going to say the kill train's not a thing, and she's just a killer, is what I was thinking. But
yeah, I guess that's possible too. I mean, either way, the metaphor that they're working with here, that New York City drives you crazy, is, I think, pretty fun and pretty good.
Yeah. I also think it would be cool if it was the fact of, like, because then we could see in the next kind of arc how the kill trains are organized, and they can be like, okay, you're going to be next to the axe guy.
Totally.
You know? Yeah.
What we need the D&D manual for the kill train to come out after this, and we'll review that. Nice. The Infinity Watch.
And Pete, just to be clear, Pete, you run a out in where you live in the country, right?
Yeah.
You run a
kill
farm. That's called a farm. Yeah, I was going to say a kill Mitsubishi Outlander.
Yeah, that's why I wrote Mitsubishi on my chest. You know
the kill train is a kill Mitsubishi.
That's right.
The Infinity Watch, #3 for Marvel, written by Derek Landy, art by Enid Balám, who I think this is the third book from Enid Balám in the stack today. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, the Infinity Watch has been shunted to another reality to escape a dude who ostensibly is trying to protect them from a bunch of folks that are going to eat their Infinity Stones and all of their reality. But this book is great. I know we talked about this with the last issue, but like that shift into this other reality was really cool, and that continues to get cooler this issue. I'm really into this book.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I was skeptical of this book because it felt, I was like, oh, they're making all these new weird rules. But when they've committed fully to weird, now I'm on board, because this is like in this universe where like Green Goblin is doing all this stuff. Everyone's being weird. Peter Parker's like, I'm just regular here. Everyone's just listening to this one lady who is like, I'm in charge here because I touched this sword once, and that's fun.
That's how leadership works, I think. Yeah, I think that I'm always surprised by how much I like this, because I'm like, oh, yeah, the Infinity Watch, I remember that. And then I'm like, oh, did I like that as much? But this is fun. They're doing some cool stuff with this. Art's great. Impressive action. So, yeah.
And I really like Star as a character. I know we talk about that all the time,
Yeah.
but she's such a jerk. It's really fun to read, and particularly seeing her getting very frustrated, more and more frustrated over the course of this issue. Fun times. Less fun times. The Department of Truth, number 29 from Image Comics, written by James Tynion IV, art by Martin Simmons. Things are really heating up here as we find out the secret origin of Richard Nixon, and a bunch of other things are going on in the present, in the world of the Department of Truth. Justin, this is your title. What do you think about this issue?
Please explain
you Nixon freaks are going to love this comic. He's hyped up so hard. We get a Nixon with money wings. Yeah, I know that's a pinup that you're putting up in your bedroom, you Nixon freaks. But this is fun, continuing to move forward. Love this.
I mean, I know you're joking about it, but it is kind of crazy that in the middle of this comic book, they're like, Nixon was really smart. You know what? Maybe the smartest president of all time.
No, maybe. They're like, Nixon was the smartest to ever be in the Oval Office.
I'm like, all right. Good for him, I guess.
Old money wings? That's who you think is smart? Oh, yeah. Boy. Yeah, this comic is just so creative and weird in all the right ways, but the art is the real hero here, and artistically what this comic has been doing for so many issues is just, it's really impressive. It's really cool, and it's different, and it's unique, and it's its own thing, and it's a crazy kind of world to be a part of.
Red Before Black, number 5 for Boom Studios, written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Goran Sudzuka. We're following two folks who are on the run currently at a crocodile farm, and there are a bunch of folks after them, including the FBI and some crooks and other people. We've talked about this before, but this is maybe the hardest Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy coded issue so far. Like, that's been kind of bubbling in the background, but this is the first issue I read where I was like, oh, this is just straight up, and I don't say this dismissively, I like it, a Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy AU. That's pretty much exactly what's happening here. So if you want to see a place where they're essentially without powers and in a world very similar to Criminal or other books like that, this is the book for you.
I mean, I also like the power set that is in here with, we don't quite know how it works, but it is interesting. And there's a backstory that is shown here that's helping to tell the story. Like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, this is very creative and cool.
Great. We've lost Pete, folks. Green Lantern number 21 from DC Comics, written by Jeremy Adams, art by Jack Herbert. In this issue, correct me if I'm wrong, the cover has Hal Jordan riding a Green Lantern motorcycle that he made with his willpower. I don't think he does that in the book, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I don't think so.
It's fucked up. I'm just saying.
Wow. Fucked up cover.
Yeah.
He's calling it out.
No, this is very fun. Hal Jordan and team are fighting Starbreaker and
Old
Sorrow.
Starbreaker.
Old Starbreaker. Lots of stuff going down in the world of Green Lantern. Any thoughts on this?
I love it when a villain says their name. You know what I mean? That's always just a fun villain thing. It's a good time.
Well, everyone has to introduce themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's just fun.
How else do you meet people? Well, yeah.
I just love it. It's like, you know me, Starbreaker. Oh, man. That's just, I love it.
You should do that. You should, when you go and introduce yourself, be like, it's me, Pete LePage.
I mean, I would be willing to bet hundreds of dollars that that's how Pete introduces himself at work, parties, state fairs, or whatever you do in the country.
State fairs.
Oh, 100%.
Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah, he's like, do you want me to introduce myself the regular way or the Raceway Parkway? Do you guys know Raceway Park?
Nope.
Oh. Raceway Park! You didn't get that commercial?
What
is that? Is that a place?
Yeah, it's like a theme park, and they used to have these commercials on the radio.
Oh, wow.
That's what it was.
Is that like the Enchanted
It's very
Forest
funny that you're like, you don't know this? Exactly. I know Enchanted Forest Water Sport. It's where the fun never stops. Pete and I, similar background. Alex, you're like, hey, you guys know the theme song to my local like farm restaurant or whatever? And we're like, no, we don't know that.
All right. Well, why don't we move on and talk about the Uncanny X-Men number 12 from Marvel, written by Gail Simone, art by Gavin Guidry. We actually talked to Gavin when we were down in New Orleans about this very issue, so go search out that live show from there. But he was talking pretty heavily about how he was a New Orleans consultant for Gail Simone, and that comes to bear with him drawing this whole issue, which focuses on Gambit, who I really loved. One of the things that I really loved about Gambit in this issue was that he wasn't kissing Kitty Pryde. I thought that made a lot more sense to me than what happened in the other issue.
Strong character choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to kind of hear him talk about, New Orleans and this kind of work with Simone in here. And I think, it kind of pays off. And, it's an interesting kind of tone to this, which I think is intriguing.
I like this. I feel like we're back to a little bit of the basics of the Uncanny X-Men run, where it is these characters down in the Louisiana Bayou and, the Big Easy. And we're telling their stories.
You think they'll go to shift?
Yes.
You go to New Orleans, you got to go to shift. Yeah.
That's what we do. I don't know if that will necessarily come in. I mean, Gavin Guidry was there, so he could easily be referencing it. You never know.
Yeah.
But I think this is back to what I have been liking about this book from its inception.
Yeah, I really like this issue as well. I am a little weirded out by the fact that there's a crocodile man who has hair like Dolph Lundgren, but I appreciated the design there. It just felt like a really good character focus, something that we've been missing here, and I almost wish we'd kind of get that every issue going forward because this felt so strong to me, but we'll see.
Hey, just before we move on, any thoughts on who Gambit should make out with? Justin or Alex gave his thoughts.
Well, he just said who not. And if we were talking about who he should make out with, I don't know, I guess his own reflection in the mirror would be high on the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't make out with.
So don't practice on the back
Gavin
of your hand.
smudging up this mirror kissing himself.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Did Gavin work with you on that?
Yeah.
Wow.
He coached me.
Wow.
He coached me.
Worth it for the accent alone.
Thank you. All right, why don't we move on and talk about Feral, number 11 from Image Comics, written by Tony Fleece, art by Trish Forster and Tony Rodríguez. And I'll just mention apologies to Tony Fleece, who we have been mispronouncing the name of for years now.
For years! Oh, man, we interviewed him, talked to him about
last issue of Feral, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if his name was actually Tony Fleece, not Tony Fleeks? And he commented on YouTube and was like, actually it is.
Wow.
But you guys...
Amazing.
Nice us guys? I don't know if you know how the show works, Alex. You say the names, and then we repeat it after you say it.
It's my fault that you kept saying, this is Fleekin' Good.
That's right. Because you said his name was Tony
now,
Fleece.
Pete? What are you going to say now?
I'll tell you what I'm going to say.
He legally changed his name to Tony Fleece.
I say you got to be fleecing kidding me.
Oh,
this is a hell of a book, and it continues to be an unbelievable ride. And I freaking love it, even though I'm scared shitless of it, and I'm worried about these poor little fucking animals. I'm in too deep here, but it's a hell of a great story, and I fleecing love it.
Ironically, Pete's saying that we were fleeced by Alex into mispronouncing this name.
That's right.
Sorry, guys. Sorry I made you pay me all that money to pronounce it that way.
No, I definitely don't blame you. And I blame Pete for saying it too many times for all of us. I also really enjoy this comic. It is cute and scary simultaneously. Something hard to do.
The Terminator, number 6 from Dynamite, written by Declan Shalvey, art by Lorenzo Ray. In this issue versus the time focus that we've been getting in previous issues, here we get to see the development or the reason for the development of a very important Terminator to the lore of the movies and the books and the TV shows and everything else, which I thought, once again, was really cool. This is a cool series.
Was there TV shows?
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
This is my
Terminator
favorite
the Sarah
issue.
Connor Chronicles.
Oh,
really good show.
My bad.
Deep cut. This is my favorite issue of the series so far. I really like this idea of telling us, giving us this backstory, really seeing the Terminators be like, we gotta use human skin, and skinning humans then to wear, which is a fun backstory that I didn't know.
Oh, you think that's fun, do you? I hate to break it to you, but you're not a Terminator. You're a human, bro. You're a skin bag. You know what I mean? So I don't know how fun that is.
Ask a cow what they think about Pete's wearing. Just so everyone knows, Pete's wearing a full leather outfit. And how do you think that cow was feeling when you skinned it?
It said in his will he was an organ donor, so he was like, "Hey, take what you need." So I was like, "All right, man. I appreciate it."
You waited for that cow to die, and then you were like, "That's my suit."
Yeah, I mean, I live out in Pennsylvania now. That's how it works. You know what I mean?
Real quick, how did you get the cow to sign the will?
With his hooves, obviously.
We did accept Pete's cow will pretty quickly here. Yeah, as an idea.
That's how it works with the old.
Which animal? Anyway. Which barnyard animal was the lawyer that handled that will? Was it a pig or a duck? Goose?
It was old McDonald.
Old McDonald
the farmer
was a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's famously a farmer. Mm-hmm. Old McDonald had a small practice.
This comic
he did
1-800-FARM. All right,
this comic is terrifying and fun, and all the things.
Okay, Justice League Unlimited #5 from DC Comics, written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora. In this issue, don't look at the cover because it's a big spoiler for the end of the issue, I'll tell you what. The Justice League is continuing to deal with the threat of Inferno, a terrorist organization that is ahead of them at every turn. And we get some big reveals that have been promised since the beginning here. What do you guys think about this one?
I thought this was
should be the cover of the next issue.
Yes.
Is big time.
Did you want to keep talking? Okay, I'm going.
No, I was just interjecting that because when you talk about the covers first, Pete, you usually say cool cover, and then we weigh in on different things.
My bad. I really think this is amazing art. I love the panels, the action. Really just like the twists and turns. Felt like a cool Justice League story. I felt like I was impressed.
You said the art's good, but like that, this art by Dan Mora is excellent. It's really, this is the big blockbuster storytelling we want from a Justice League book. And let me say this: there's Dan Mora draws the Joker on like page 6. And I like it better than the Jim Lee Joker from Hattush.
So take it easy. Take it easy.
Shouts to that.
Guy.
I think the art in this book is excellent. This is big storytelling that Mark Waid is bringing here with Dan Mora. And
I gotta fucking pull this up.
I think it's great.
See this blasphemy for myself here.
It's very good.
Jim Lee bad. You heard it here first. Moving on to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man #4 from Marvel, written by Christos Gage, art by Eric Gapster. In this issue, Spider-Man is fighting Fancy Dan, Montana, Ox, and oh my gosh, what's the handsome guy named? Man Mountain Marco?
I thought you were looking for Silvermane.
No. There's also Silvermane, who is very handsome, but Man Mountain Marco, who I'd all forgotten about. So very excited to see all of my friends.
Nice job remembering that. But I got to say, Silvermane is treated like a beautiful god in this. He runs a line of hair care products.
I just got to page 6, bro. That is like, I don't know, bro.
It's a pretty good Joker.
No, bro. That is like no. That's no.
Look at the Jim Lee one. It's better.
Hey kids, time to pause your podcast and take a look at Batman 158 and Justice League Limited #5.
Dude, his hair is so coiffed in this. Dude, that's not.
Oh yeah, you can't have a Joker that runs a comb through his hair. He spends a lot of time doing makeup. I feel like he has time to comb his hair.
Sure.
Yeah. He very famously combs his hair in The Dark Knight. That's one of the scenes.
See?
I'm not even joking. It's true.
It's
canonically.
No, it's real.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. This Spider-Man is fun. It's got different characters, which is cool from difference from the cartoon. I felt like the last issue, I was still kind of like, it was too close to what was happening in the cartoon, so it was kind of messing with me a little bit. But I like this making different choices here, so I appreciated that, and it's nice to kind of get some different characters to kind of play with. But yeah,
it's interesting that this
Spider-Man. It's tough though because he's dead by the end of the issue, so spoilers.
Yeah, and especially the fact that this is a prequel to the animated series, or I guess it's a mid-quel technically because it's
because how is he? His powers are he can like shoot stuff out and swing, and they threw him off a building, so he's no way he can survive.
Have you seen? There's a movie called Weekend at Bernie's 2 where they use the power of voodoo to reanimate a dead body, and he does a very funny dance. So I assume that's what happened over the entirety of the animated series, and that's what we'll see the setup for in this next issue.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I'm looking forward to
and that's
a
what you say at
fantastic
every
dance
funeral.
sequence.
That's what you say whenever you give a eulogy, right, Alex?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Death is sad, but I like to take solace in the fact that your loved one will rise from the coffin.
Weekend at Bernie's 2.
I know you're crying about your poor departed uncle right now, but if I could be allowed to play these steel drums that I brought real quick, I think you'd be singing a different tune.
Yeah, turn this into a funeral.
The Lucky Devils, #3 from Image Comics, written by Charles Soule, art by Ryan Brown. In this issue, our Devils are really amping things up quite a bit in their pact to try to change hell by using two relatively innocent souls and kicking them up a level. There's a lot of twists and turns. Innocent. What? They're regular people, which I think is kind of interesting. Pete, what do you think about this? You love hell.
Man, can't wait. You know what I mean? Can't wait. I vacation there, and I can't wait until I'm permanently living there. No, I just think that this is such a creative, cool book. This team does only bangers, so I'm looking forward to more of this. But yeah, this is an interesting, cool setup and premise, and I'm nervous and scared about what's going to happen to the humans here, and if these devils keep winning.
What I love about this and a lot of this team's, the Soule Brown team, is their books are always like high-low, super high-minded world building. They've thought through every aspect. And then just like fun jokes with the characters just being regular, being humans. Even these devils are just like trying to hang out and be with each other. And it's a good combo.
Rogue the Savage Land, #3 from Marvel, written by Tim Seeley, art by Zulema Scotto-Lavina. In this issue, Rogue, Kazar, and Magneto are all fighting zombie dinosaurs, so a good time is had by all.
Yeah, this is just Tim Seeley
flirtation.
Having a blast here. This is funny writing, cool kind of setup, premise, great art. This cover is a little misleading. I think it's a cool cover, but it's it doesn't actually go down like this. But I think this is just a blast, and Tim Seeley having some fun with some great characters, and it's very entertaining, and it kind of delivers. You know what I mean?
This is emotionally what's happening here as we get a little bit of a love triangle going here, even though Kazar is like, I'm in love with a she-devil. So
he's like, oh, back really... up. I'm with she-devil, you know?
Yeah, we can high-five briefly, Rogue. I think we're going to get some of the Magneto-Rogue romance next issue, though, right? The potentially controversial...
I don't think so. It doesn't really seem to be going that direction.
It didn't seem. I was looking for it.
Really?
But I did like that moment. I thought that was a fun moment.
It's funny.
Flirting and him shutting her down.
Yeah.
Well characterized. Yes.
I don't know. I feel like this is pointing to some sort of connection between Magneto and Rogue, which I think canonically is what happened in this time, right?
Yes, canonically that's what happened, but I do think it's pretty telling because Tim Seeley is very well aware of the controversy around it, that he's very specific about, like, Rogue saying, Kazar, you're about my same age, so this would be okay, which feels like a direct rejoinder at the people that flipped out before the series came out.
Yeah, but I don't know, do you think it's just not going to be referenced?
I don't know.
I feel like it is. And there's a lot of like talk in this issue about like, well, what was the coming fight was what we had to worry about. And I feel like they're going to touch on it next issue. But I do like this series. Shouts to Tim Seeley.
Yeah.
I Heart Skull Crusher, number 8 from Boombox, written by Josie Campbell, art by Alessio Zono. This takes place in a future world where the biggest game is Screaming Paintball. Yeah! And the Skull Crusher of the title is helping the earnest leader of the team learn how to actually play the game in this issue. There's definitely a flirtation going on with them as well, which is very sweet and nice. I love this book, and I'll also throw out there, while I was reading books for the stack, I think I just read this one. My son came up to me and was like, hey, are they still making I Heart Skull Crusher? And I was like, yeah, I actually just read the 8th issue. He's a couple of issues behind. He's like, well, I really love that book. So it's quartered the 10-year-old demographic as well.
So by one kid liking it, you say he's cornered all 10-year-olds?
Well, I don't know. I think that points to a really good book, that like it is violent, but in a very fun and funny and sweet way. And it's the sort of thing that can work for kids, can work for adults. It is a legit all ages book.
I'm sure
I also love this book.
Your son is a great human being, but to say that he represents all 10-year-olds is just out of control.
He does. He's the exact middle. He is the Domino's pizza of 10-year-olds.
Oh, my God. That's ridiculous. That's an insult.
What an indictment of your child that is.
This is a blast. I love this book. It's manga fun, anime fun, however you want to kind of call it. Love the art style, the facial expressions. This is just a very enjoyable read. I love the mix of action and story and a little sprinkling some romance here. So, yeah, this is just all the things and done really well and in great hands. So yeah, more of this, please.
It's a great sports book. I want to play or at least watch Screaming Paintball on the weekends on a Sunday afternoon.
Anything that's got a giant hammer with spikes on it, hell yeah, that's a sport.
Superman number 24 from DC Comics, written by Joshua Williamson, art by Eddie Barrows and Eber Ferreira. In this issue, some big stuff is going down on the Lex Luthor Mercy Graves front. First, they're making out, and then one of them is breaking bad. What do you think about the smooching and scooching?
Hatoochin.
Hatooch. Pete?
At
a loss for words, Pete.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Yeah, this is fun, enjoyable, like the twists and turns here. Like a big kind of villain reveal at the end there. That was cool. Worried about, I was worried about the Superman Lois splitting up, but that seemed to be okay. I was like, oh God, when's the kind of other kind of shoe going to drop on that? But, it's nice to see them getting to kind of work together and spend more time together. You know what I mean?
Same. Like to see these two kids out there being heroes, being in love, splitting up, coming back together, solving mysteries. I love love.
I love love as well, but do you love Weapon X-Men number 2 from Marvel, written by Joe Casey, art by Chris Cross? This is teaming up some of the sharpest characters in the Marvel Universe, including Wolverine, Deadpool, Cable, Thunderbird, and Chamber are also there, among other characters. And we get a villain reveal with Baron Strucker, as well as why Deadpool has kidnapped Wolverine. Pete, you seem pretty psyched. Take it.
This is, to me, we were talking a lot about like Deadpool's voice and stuff. Joe Casey does such a great job writing Deadpool. Really hilarious kind of banter in here. I love the WMD Wolverines of Mass Destruction. Hilarious bit. I mean, come on, that's just fun stuff here. Yeah, I love all the twists and turns in this, and then the kind of Deadpool, spoilers reveal that like, hey, I'm not really the bad guy here. So great. I just love it. This is a great team in great hands. I'm having an absolute blast with this.
I want to see more of what's happening with the other characters, but it feels like we're going to get more of that going forward. But Deadpool is fun here, definitely leading the charge.
Last but not least, from the world of minor threats, The Brood, number 4 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Heath Corson, Patton Oswalt, and Jordan Bloom, art by I.N.J. Culbert. In this issue, Our main villainous character has been sick and dying, but the focus turns on his magical son, who's got some big plans of his own, and it all ends up in tragic and surprising fashion. I thought this was another fantastic series from the world of Minor Threats. Really well done. Such a great focus in every single issue.
Yeah.
This may be maybe my favorite series from Minor Threats. Like, I thought this was fantastic. This last issue really brought everything together in a really smart way. Just really great stuff, really thoughtful and well plotted stuff from this universe the whole way through.
Pete?
Yeah, really great.
Excellent stuff.
Empty. The gas tank is empty.
The chamber is empty. And in fact, our stack is empty as well. We are done with it. If you'd like to support it, patreon.com/comic book club. Also, we did a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Facebook and YouTube. Come hang out. We would love to chat with you about comic books. Apple, Spotify, Android, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show. comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, we'll see you at the Comic Book Club.
Yeah.
And Pete, could you get me in touch with your farm lawyer? I want to have Alex to steal drums at my funeral.
Smart. I hope we don't die on the same day, bro.